Did the word volunteer ever get spoken in your 30-minute meeting with Mr. Kielburger?
Madam Chair, off the top of my head, it was more of a listening exercise.
No, was it spoken? Yes or no?
Not that I'm aware of.
Were you there?
Can't say that I said it. I was there.
Did someone else say it?
Madam Chair, I recall, and this is a lengthier answer, but I recall the conversation in regards to them advancing and sharing their unsolicited proposal.
Right. No, that's not my question. My question is about whether the word volunteer was spoken. Was youth service mentioned?
I will tell you that youth service is top of line for myself.
Okay, so that's
we
a
brought
yes?
through the Canada Service Corps in 2018.
Yes or no?
Madam Chair, I think it's important that since I am wanting to provide accurate information, that I provide all information that I have.
Minister, thank you. I do understand that, but the question has been asked of you is quite simple. It is really a yes or no question, and so you need to respect the member who is asking you that question and answer accordingly. Thank you. Minister, yes or no?
I would say service opportunities, yes, was said.
Okay, good. Now we're getting somewhere. This was just 5 days before the Canada Student Service Grant was announced and given its name. And of course, that grant wasn't mentioned because it wasn't created at the time of your meeting. But did you speak about anything at all, other than the Kielburger's social entrepreneurship proposal? Anything at all? Yes or no?
I would have definitely asked how the youth that they were working with, how they were doing in the face of the pandemic.
Did the Kielburgers know that the Prime Minister would make an announcement only days later on April 22nd regarding youth programming?
I cannot speak to the Kielburgers. I personally did not know on April 17th that the Prime Minister would be making that announcement.
Okay, so you didn't know, even though you're the minister responsible for that announcement. Strange. How many staff attended that meeting with you and the Kielburgers?
Madam Chair, for clarification, from my team, is he referring to?
Yes.
Or I was the only person on the phone call from my team because it was in regards to
any officials?
Proposal.
Any officials?
From my team, no.
It was just a phone call? 2 people?
From my team, it was myself. From the WE organization, it was Craig Kielburger, and I believe Sophia was on the phone with us. They would know if there was other people from their side. It was a phone number they provided for me to dial into.
Thank you. Anyone in the PMO or the Finance Minister's office aware that you were having this phone call?
Not that I'm aware of, but I can check into that information and share it with the committee.
Did you take any notes?
Madam Chair, from that phone call, it was in regards to the unsolicited social entrepreneurship
No, that wasn't my
program.
question. Did you take notes, yes or no? Did you take notes?
I was provided a briefing note, which has been shared.
Did you? Okay, did you take notes on your phone call? Yes or no? For the 4th time.
Everything I received was in line with.
No, did you take notes with your own hand? That was the question. It's a simple question. Yes or no?
The only note I would have taken would have been to ask the team to follow up with colleagues' offices in regards to the proposal. And
but that's strange, because a moment ago you said by the time you did this phone call or finished it, you were not interested in that proposal. So now you were must have been a different proposal that you were following up on.
Madam Chair, the member can choose to put words in my mouth. It would not be his first time.
It is
a repetitive behavior. So I will say that
let's not get distracted here.
Something that I was not considering, but it's important for the team and also for officials to be aware of it.
Okay.
And to make sure that they look and consider
all
its
right.
merits.
So you decided that you weren't going to pursue that proposal, yet you wrote notes to your staff and officials to follow up on that proposal. Okay, very clear.
So
we're going to move on to another question now.
Madam Chair.
I'm on to my question. I didn't ask a question yet. So she's had plenty of chances to respond. And
you put words in my mouth.
So
very classy.
Next issue here. You were aware that the Prime Minister withdrew your proposal from the Cabinet meeting on May the 8th, yes or no?
The Prime Minister testified and shared that information.
And the WE organization had already begun implementing the Canada Summer Student Service Grant on the 5th, 3 days earlier. So did you instruct anybody to immediately call WE and say, stop, the Prime Minister has pushed back and that this program is not approved by Cabinet, and therefore WE has got to put its actions on hold? Yes or no?
Madam Chair, the Prime Minister, as he stated, actually, it was about due diligence from officials, so I would like the Deputy to have a minute to answer.
I'm sorry, Minister, we are out of time. I'm going to hand the floor over to Mr. Gerritsen.
Point of order, Madam Chair. I do think that they should have a chance to respond, if possible.
Mr. Poilievre, you're putting me in a difficult position here.
I thought he only did that to us.
Mr. Gerritsen, the floor is yours for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Minister, you were on the receiving end of a fairly hostile accusation there by Mr. Poilievre. Would you like the opportunity to respond to that, Minister?
Madam Chair, I think it would be important for the Deputy to be provided an opportunity to answer the accusations that are being provided by the Conservative member.
Hello. So the question was in relation to an earlier start date. Why was it effective on May 5th? And as generally occurs with contribution agreements, a start date may be identified prior to the date of the agreement's signature. This is routinely done when organizations may incur eligible expenses prior to that signature. If the earlier start date is not approved, the organization is reimbursed for expenses or expenditures incurred, and do this completely at their own risk. Similarly, if the agreement is not signed, the organization would not be reimbursed for any expenses incurred. It may often take weeks for a contribution agreement to be negotiated, and that is what occurred in this particular instance. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Minister, let's not beat around the bush here and pretend that your appearance before this committee somehow has nothing to do with the fallout of the WE situation with the student service grant. So I'll just be blunt. Did you knowingly brush off signs of conflict of interest or any perception thereof when you were presented with the recommendation to enlist the WE charity to deliver this program?
Madam Chair, I can tell you that I take the Conflict of Interest Act very seriously. No, I would never brush off any signs, and that's why I ensured that I worked with officials to ensure that due diligence was done, and I believe that they did their due diligence.
And they did give you that recommendation, right, Minister? Because when Mr. Barrett was speaking with the clerk of the Privy Council previous to this, he said, this is Mr. Barrett's words, and I quote, Cabinet accepted the recommendation of the public service. This kind of goes against a little bit about what the Conservatives have been trying to purport in their rhetoric out there, that somehow that wasn't the case. But this was a recommendation from the public service, as Mr. Barrett said, correct?
Madam Chair, this was the recommendation that was repeated on numerous occasions. As has been noted, it is a proposal that went to the COVID committee. There was numerous questions asked. Those questions were asked of officials. Officials responded and came back with the same recommendation. We also asked for other recommendations. Who else could deliver a program to the scale, the scope, this timeline? And once again, in writing, the public service did provide us that it was the only organization that could deliver the program to the scale, scope, and timeline that we were looking for.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. That's everything.
I will proceed with giving one question to the Conservatives and one question to the Liberals. Conservative member can go.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. The question is not about why the contribution agreement was backdated. The question is very simple. The Prime Minister claims that he put the entire WE program on hold on May the 8th. Minister Chagger, did anyone in the government at that moment direct WE to stop administering the program when the Prime Minister did that on May 8th? Yes or no?
Madam Chair, that was a lengthy question, but I'll provide a short answer, not that I'm aware of.